r/AskReddit by Redmond Dts. Casino workers, what is the saddest thing you've seen? Ex-casino worker here. I saw way too many people spend ridiculous amounts of money on gambling. I've seen little kids asleep in chairs outside the casino floor cause their parents were busy gambling. A gentleman had a heart attack at a poker table and other gamblers were pissed cause we had to stop the games so EMS could come. Saddest one though was a lady who wanted to cash a check made out to the electric company. She wanted to know if she could scratch out the company name and write in the casino name. I told her we could not do that. I've seen little kids asleep in chairs outside the floor on Christmas Eve. I worked at a casino over a decade ago, but here's mine. Somebody won a small jackpot, something like $2,000. When checking her ID for tax paperwork, it was discovered that she had put herself on the state's problem gambler self-exclusion list, which meant the casino was obligated to remove her from the building without paying. She wouldn't have been allowed in the building if she had been recognized. While double checking, the manager downloaded an updated list we auto-checked against a local copy that was sometimes a few days out of date, and it showed that she had removed herself from the list with sufficient notice, so the jackpot was paid out. She proceeded to put every penny of the jackpot back into the slot machine. And also made a couple visits to the ATM. And at the end of her stay she asked the cashiers if she could be put back on the self-exclusion list. Coming into work and seeing the same people still playing that were there when I left the night before. My first December working in the casino I'm still at, I was on a blackjack table and a guy sits down and drops $1,565 on the table and tells the dealer, my family's about to have a great Christmas or no Christmas. 20 minutes later it's gone. And he asks the dealer if she's happy with herself and how well the casino has to be paying her. Never saw the guy again. Our casino is 95% repeat customers, so I wouldn't be surprised if that actually was his Christmas money. Way too many in 10 years of dealing table games. I've seen people lose a lot of money until they cried at my table. People sitting at machines and being there the next day. I came to work smelling like actual shit. A regular always brought her disabled kid in a wheelchair and put them next to her while she gambled for almost a day each time. I had a guy who clearly had dementia at my table, and even with complaints they still allowed him to play. He could barely make hand signals and kept forgetting we were in the middle of hands. It didn't help that he was tipping the beverage server well, so he got massively overserved alcohol. Reports on these people should have made it so they couldn't continue doing this stuff, but it never actually changed anything. The worst was a few tables away from me. A guy's girlfriend was trying to get him to leave, and he got so pissed he tried to choke her to death right at the table. He ran from security into the woods behind the casino and killed himself. I didn't personally witness it, but in late 1999 I helped open the Motor City Casino in Detroit. A month later an off-duty police officer lost everything and blew his brains out on the floor. I'm not a casino worker. I was at a bar on the casino floor and an elderly man in a suit and hat sat down a few seats over and started talking to the bartender. They made small talk, and then he mentioned that his wife of 50 years had died of cancer a few weeks beforehand. He said they never had kids, and not many friends, so he took all the savings they had and came to Vegas to have some fun until the money runs out, then I'll be going home to be with my wife. Bartender never followed up on it, but just kinda let him drink. I just awkwardly kept scrolling on my phone. What do you even say to that? We had a roulette and blackjack table room that joined with a nightclub I worked in. There was this guy who spent more money than I made in 2 months in just a few hours. He wasn't drunk. I tried to get him to stop playing. He was the only player at the table, but he just said he is lonely and playing blackjack was the only thing that made him feel okay. He was far away from home. I think he was Russian and just really sad. It was tough to watch. His face looked just as vacant when he left as when he started playing. So sad. I spent a lot of time in the casino. My dad had a gambling problem. It's sad to watch your hero fall, but he pulled himself out and away from that. But the things I've seen a blind Chinese man come in with his bodyguards to help him gamble. I've seen couples blow their entire money and just stand there looking at each other half in tears. I sat next to a woman who lost it all and just couldn't bring herself to get off the chair because reality wasn't setting in. My dad used to really hit it big, and once he would make me play on one machine and he plays on the other. His was losing and mine started winning, but I got shoved off that seat so fast. I don't miss that place. It's full of greed and misery. Worked valet at a casino. One night we got the car and they dropped it off, left the keys in, normal here. I hopped in to move it and it smelled like death. I moved the car and informed my super. He called the cops as it was the smell of a decaying body. Cops came and we opened the truck. Full of groceries. From 4 months ago. In the Missouri summer heat. It was chicken. They came to claim their car and were told to not park here in valet again. They said the person who normally carries their groceries up to their second floor apartment left and they don't have anyone to help them anymore. So now they go to casinos and eat out every night. They didn't have money to do this, no idea where it came from. I will never gamble or go to a casino after working valet those years. Many more stories. My dad was a security guard at a casino for 15 years and he's got stories. When he started working there, the chairs at the slot machines were made of cloth. They had to change them to vinyl because people would not get up to go to the bathroom and they would piss and shit all over the chairs. People would sneak their kids into the hotel in luggage when kids aren't allowed in the hotel. Others left them in the car in the parking garage. One guy took a loan out against his house to gamble and lost it all. He dropped dead in the casino. People would literally spend days gambling in the same clothes. People would beg for money at the exits of the highway for money, pretending to be homeless and use the money to gamble. I could keep going. Edit. The casino my father worked at did not allow kids on premises, period. If yours does, then good for you. Former casino security here. A guy jumping off the 8th story of the parking garage. I had a customer walk up to me as a slot attendant with 4 quarters on his open palm. He asked if I had any idea about any machine that might be ready to pay out. He explained he had driven a little over 2 hours to get to the casino and this was literally all the money he had left. He hadn't bothered to fill the gas on his car and it didn't have enough to get him home. Best I could tell him was one particular bank of machines had had several decent payouts, but that was about all I could say, as even slot attendants don't have much idea when any particular machine was going to hit. I got called off to another customer. I don't think he even won enough to buy some gas. I hated that question so much. I always told them that the only machine designed to give them money was the ATM. One of the saddest things I've seen was a regular patron who had clearly lost more than just money over time. He'd come in frequently, always chasing his losses, and it was evident that his gambling habit had taken a toll on his personal life. Over the months, he became more withdrawn, and his clothes and demeanor showed signs of neglect. It was heartbreaking to watch someone lose not just financially, but also in terms of their well-being and relationships. My mom works at a casino. She was walking through the tables, and a guy in front of her pulled a gun from his pocket and shot himself in the head. The gun landed a couple feet from her feet. This made me think that she's never really mentioned it since. I should probably check to be sure there's no lingering issues. I witnessed a mother leaving her 2 young children in a coffee shop next to the casino floor for hours late at night while she gambled. Former cage supervisor. In the span of a month, 2 people committed suicide by jumping off the top of our 6-story parking garage. Saddest part was that when it happened the second time, all the staff were just like, really? Again? That's inconvenient. Couple jumpers off the top of the parking garage every few years. Guy hanged himself in the bathroom. Security and maintenance saw a lot more than I did as a slot tech. I just heard about it. I didn't walk in on it. The saddest thing I've seen was an elderly man who lost his entire pension in one night. He just sat there, staring at the slot machine, looking completely lost. Was in AC 20 years ago. It was midnight, and there were a bunch of small kids sleeping on coats outside the casino floor, in the bathroom alone, etc. 15 years in the casino, on the food and beverage side. I have seen people shit and piss on themselves, so they don't have to leave machine. Shit in the line to the buffet and roll it down their pant leg, so they don't lose their spot. Completely not even batting an eye at their actions. I have more shit and piss stories than I care to share. People get an opportunity to buy a home, finally, and find out they can't get a loan because 95% of their income has gone into the casino for years. Someone die just to have people try to step around the barrier to get to the free soda machine, or over the body even, because they could care less. Fentanyl classes had to be given to my team in the event someone found something on the ground. I'm glad we did that as a company, but sad it was there and that common. Someone throw themselves off the parking structure. Someone stir up a car chase and end it in the valet, basically suicide by cop. Not really the casino's fault here. Don't get me started on covered handling both pre and post closure. Needless to say, I'm long and gone out of that world. I never gamble. Video poker casino. I worked graveyard shift, 10 PM to 6 AM, and we got robbed at gunpoint one night. We had about 5 people there playing. The robber disarmed the security guard and forced all the people to go to the ground. So they did their thing and fled. I'm sitting in the cage, smoking stressfully waiting on the cops, and those 5 people freaking got up and went right back to their games. Cops were in questioning them, and they are just playing away. I'm in the cage talking to the cops and my boss, while they are dusting for prints and such, and these people just keep coming to change out money. I quit the job the next day. That's all folks. Thank you for watching. If you like videos like this one, why not like and subscribe for more? Have a nice evening.